going on, everyone? This is Preheat, and today I'm going to be bringing you a updated Legion Fire Mage guide. The last one I did was in 6.2.3, and I thought you guys would enjoy a new guide, seeing how Fire Mages have changed quite drastically since WoD, to be honest with you. The rotation's completely different. As you may know, Prismatic Crystal, our essential DPS cooldown, is taken out of the game. So now we are forced to use Combustion in our opener as a main source of damage. It basically gives you 100% crit and translates any extra crit into mastery. So this guide is going to be basically showing you what talents to use, your stat priority, and what your opener should look like on a single target boss fight. So as you guys can see, I'm sitting currently at the time of this video at an 845 item level. And my stats are as you can see here. Basically, your stat priority is you want to stack as much crit as possible after reaching a haste cap of 1800. Why the haste cap? Because it allows for your extra procs to get off on the target. So if you're running Living Bomb, you're going to get an extra tick, and it also provides you with a GCD cap while Lust is up. To my knowledge, that's the only reason for it. Other than that, haste tends to fall off pretty fast, being that crit is basically your bread and butter for fire as it stands, as it always has stood. But it's more irrelevant this patch, or this expansion rather, because your combustion cooldown gives you 100% crit while its duration is active, which means that any excess crit that you may have, so let's say right now I'm sitting at 48%, when I pop combustion I'm going to be sitting at 148%. So that extra 48% gets translated into my mastery. Not the actual percentage, but the amount of extra crit I receive gets translated into mastery. So as you saw there, it jumped back down to 3.7k, but the actual item, the actual stat value gets translated into mastery, so keep that in mind. As for talents, currently for single target, these are the best single target talents. Being that Unstable Magic, you don't have to waste a GCD casting Living Bomb. Flame Patch, obviously it's not very good for single target, you're not going to be using Flame Strike very much. Kindling, this is more, I wouldn't say it's a personal preference. Cinderstorm, when it's actually simulated in like things like Simcraft or whatnot, it values that Cinderstorm is hitting all 6 of its cinders on the target with Ignite currently active on your target, meaning that for this to be an optimal talent choice, you'd have to have Ignite on the boss, which is kind of a given, and you'd have to hit all 6 cinders onto the target. So sometimes during a raid, you might have to move, whatnot, you might be out of position, all 6 cinders might not hit the boss or whatever you're attacking, and you might lose out on DPS. I choose Kindling just because of the fact that it lowers the cooldown on Combustion, being that Combustion is your bread and butter. That's your entire DPS in one cooldown. Ice Flows, this is mainly a quality of life talent choice for level 75. Ice Flows is by far the best, allows you to cast while moving. And if you were to use the current, well, it's not really a bug, but it's kind of like, it's just a smart way of using Icy Flows, or Ice Flows. If you're sitting there and casting something at a target, and you cast it 80% to the cast, my stack didn't go away, so I can keep casting. And if you do that again, you'll see here I still have 2 stacks. So you can keep casting, use it again, and now you'll have 3 stacks. And you basically have casted 5 abilities at the end of this, while having 3 stacks of Ice Flows. So that's an important little tip to keep in mind. Rune of Power, incredibly powerful, this expansion. It basically provides you with 50% increased spell damage as long as you stay within the range of your Rune of Power for 10 seconds, and it's got a 2 charge. So basically on your opener, you'll be using Rune of Power, and then next time your Flame On comes back on, you'll be using Rune of Power. And you just want to keep in mind that you never want to be sitting on 2 stacks. You kind of always want to use them, because that's a free 50% damage bonus for 10 seconds, or 50% spell damage bonus for 10 seconds, excuse me. Shimmer, these are kind of quality of life choices. If you feel like you're going to be taking a heavy load of damage during a boss, you don't have cooldowns, Cauterize is the way to go. Cold Snap, as it's always been, provides 2 charges of Ice Block, and it now passively heals you for 3% of your maximum health every 1 second. So that's kind of just like a nice thing to have if you feel like you're using Ice Blocks more than once. Shimmer, it gives you 2 stacks of Blink, and it teleports you 20 yards forward. Standard Blink, 2 charges, unaffected by the global cooldown, which is nice. And the most conversed talent choice for fire mages right now is the choice between Conflag, Pyromania, or Firestarter. The reason I don't use Firestarter I haven't used it once this entire expansion is because the amount of time you're going to be spending killing a boss is not going to last very long. It's usually, you know, a standard boss fight, let's say, on average is 10 minutes, right? You're going to spend a minute and a half out of that 10 minutes. Let's say it's 80% health, so let's say a minute and a half or a minute and 50 seconds, whatever you want to call it, is going to be spent above 85% health on the boss. So you're going to be doing crits constantly for 85%, but then when that falls off, you don't have any sort of beneficial talent to fill in after that 85% health is dropped. Conflag, basically when you shoot a fireball, it applies an additional burn to your enemy, and if you're AoEing mobs down or you're cleaving a boss down, that conflagration can spread. It has a chance to spread to nearby enemies. So it's just basically an extra ignite, if you will. I've been running Pyromaniac a lot, and the thing about this talent is it's amazing if you can utilize it properly. And I say that because Pyromaniac basically has a chance to reactivate your hot streak. And if you're doing a rotation and you're spamming your buttons and you use an Infernal Blast while that thing procs, you're gonna waste a pyrocast, and that's what you want to avoid at all costs. So like I said, Pyromania is incredibly powerful as long as you make sure that you're not wasting your hot streaks, so you're heating up procs. Because doing that, you have a certain amount of instant cast, which you'll see later, for your opener, and you want to basically use all of those on an instant pyro. And you want to keep in mind that while that rotation is going on, you might have a chance of getting an instant pyro without using your abilities. It just comes up and you have to waste it. So keep that in mind. But Pyromania, or Pyromania, excuse me, in my opinion, by far the best single target talent choice. Okay, now that the mathy stuff is out of the way, I'm going to go over how a rotation works in Legion. So, like I said before, we're going to be using Rune of Power on the start, and ideally, I don't have pots right now, I don't have flasks either. I have an old flask. But ideally, at the DPS, if a DBM timer was going down, let's say here, for sake of argument, 10 seconds, right? So at around 3.5 seconds, you're going to cast Rune of Power, you're going to pop your potion, cast Scorch, Combustion. Cast a fireball into a fire blast. I don't know why that didn't crit. It's weird. And then you're gonna. I kind of just fucked it up. But anyways, I'm gonna try this again without using combustion. So you're gonna put a Rune of Power down at 3 seconds. You're gonna pop your potion. You're gonna cast Scorch, and then as Scorch is about to go off, you're gonna cast Combustion. That's gonna give you an instant crit on your Scorch, right? Then, a lot of people tend to differ in this manner. You can cast a fireball into an immediate fire blast to guarantee your crit, and then the rotation is complete instant casts for the duration of combustion. That is due to the fact that everything you're going to cast is a crit. So, when your Pyroblast is in the air, you're going to cast a heating up or a fire blast, and that's going to give you an instant Pyroblast proc. You're going to shoot the pyro again. Once it lands, it's going to give you another crit. You're going to cast Fire Blast again. It's going to give you another crit. That's an instance of Pyromania, or Pyromaniac. It just gave me a free Pyroblast. Once you've wasted all of your Fire Blasts, you're gonna Flame On, and then Fire Blast again. And then you're going to Fire Blast again. And then once those are done, your Rune of Power should be coming, it should like start to despawn off the floor. So at this point, you might want to cast another Rune of Power, and then you can dump your Phoenix Flames into the boss. Usually by the time you get to your Phoenix Flames portion of the rotation, your combustion will be like extinguished. It won't be there anymore. But the great thing about Phoenix Flames is it's an instant crit. It always crits. So if you have a heating up proc and you cast a Phoenix Flames, you will definitely crit. You'll get a pyro proc. Oh my god, that's a tongue twister. And you might get your Pyromaniac to proc again. So that's basically the rotation. And as far as crit goes, the reason it's so important is not only because it provides you with extra mastery when you use combustion, but during your non-combustion phase, if you will, your fireballs need to crit for you to have sustained damage, right? If you're not critting, you're not getting pyro procs, which are your biggest DPS dumps, if you will. So the reason you stack crit is because you need to have a solid sustained non-combustion phase. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna try the rotation one more time to just show you guys with Lust and everything. I'm not gonna talk while I do it because it kind of fucks me up a bit, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, so here we go with a DBM pull.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Pyromaniac procced. Now your combustion's about to come off, so you can cast another Rune of Power. And at this point you don't have combustion, so you can kind of just fill her with Fireball, like that. Another one. And that's pretty much your rotation. Like I said, keep in mind you don't never want to sit on 2 stacks of Rune of Power. You want to try not to sit on Phoenix Flames at 3 stacks unless you know combustion's going to be coming up within those 45 seconds. And your second Rune of Power, your third Rune of Power is going to come up usually when your Flame On comes up. So you should have a stack. So when your Flame On comes up, if you have a heating up proc like this, you'll want to cast Rune of Power. It lasts 10 seconds, so you want to utilize this 50% damage bonus for as long as possible. You want to try to get as many pyros in as you can, because you're basically doing 50% more spell damage. Alright, well that's about it. Hope you guys found this video useful. Please comment, rate, subscribe, tell me I'm shit at the game, whatever you gotta do. I appreciate the support, and as always, I will see you soon. Peace.